Today is February 6, 2023. My name is Rob Carr of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. Well, just two things on today's program. First, I just saw in the news that the Associated Press recently decided to make some stylistic changes when reporting on various topics, and including the topic of abortion. And they have decided or recommended that the terms crisis pregnancy center or pregnancy care center should not be used anymore, but be replaced by the term anti-abortion center. Here's just another example of, cancel culture, political correctism. When anti-abortion center is a very vague term. It could be referring to a right to life office or a pro-life office. It could be referring to a crisis pregnancy center. It could be referring to another pro-life organization. But pregnancy care center or a crisis pregnancy center is a very specific type of pro-life group or organization. They specifically minister to pregnant moms and families and babies, and encouraging moms to bring that child to term and to have and to not have an abortion. Well, that's what a crisis pregnancy center is. But an anti-abortion center is too vague, way too vague. But see, the AP is upset because they think crisis pregnancy center misleads the public. So, I'm just tired of the other side ramming their opinions down our throats. We can't call ourselves what we call ourselves. We have to call, like the pro-life movement. Well, no, we're the anti-abortion movement, or we're the anti-choice movement. We can't be called by what we want to be called. Well, okay. Second item, and this is coming from England or Great Britain or the UK, whichever term you prefer to use, our friends across the pond. But apparently Great Britain has a law or ordinance or some policy regarding abortion clinics. And the policy is called Public Spaces Protection Order. It establishes a safe zone around abortion clinics and prohibits, quote, engaging in any act of approval or disapproval, including praying. And then that's the big issue here, praying. Last December, a woman named Isabel Vaughan Spruce, she's a pro-life activist. She's actually the director of the UK March for Life. Well, she committed a dastardly act back in December. She was praying in front of an abortion clinic in Birmingham, England. And apparently, someone complained to the police that Isabel was praying silently. And she was arrested, violating this public spaces order. Well, just a few days ago, the UK decided to drop the charges, although they did warn her that there is the possibility that they may reinstate the charges. So we'll keep following this story. But Isabel wants a definitive answer on the real legal status on this safe zone and what a person can or cannot do in that zone to get arrested. And she has a few good quotes here. Quote, many of us need an answer as to whether it's still lawful to pray silently in our own heads. It can't be right that I was arrested and made a criminal only for praying in my head on a public street, unquote. Another example of the state trying to criminalize free speech or free thought. Great Britain does not have the First Amendment. They don't really have a constitution like we do. So they don't have a First Amendment that guarantees the right of assembly and the right of religion and the right of free speech. But England is a democratic country, and they do support the concept that a person should have the right to publicly criticize the government. So we'll see how this plays out. But I got to thinking about this buffer zone issue and praying silently. Let's suppose you've got a 75-foot buffer zone in front of this abortion clinic in England. And you're just a regular, average, run-of-the-mill British citizen walking down the street. We've already determined that it's a public street. So a person is walking by the street. And let's suppose he may be pro-life. And he's outside of that 75-foot zone, but he starts to pray about 10 or 15 feet before getting into the zone. So those 15 feet, he's a law-abiding citizen. But then, boom, the minute he crosses into that 75-foot zone, the lights go off and the bells ring, and all of a sudden he's a criminal. And he's arrested because he's in that zone. And then he walks that 75 feet, and then he continues to pray once he passes out of the zone, and now he's a good citizen again. No, that whole thing is absurd. A person should have the right to pray silently. We're not talking about throwing bricks or rocks or laying down and blocking clinic entrances. We're talking about silent prayer. And let's suppose another average British citizen is walking down the street and he's not pro-life. He doesn't care one way or the other, but he stops right in the middle of that zone and looks at that clinic. How does the police know that he is praying or he isn't praying? How can they tell? How can they tell that this passerby is committing a crime? They can't. You cannot know when a person is praying silently. So the whole thing's absurd. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression should be legal in any country. So with that, I will let you go. I'll see you next time.